Yes, we have a quorum.
Recording in progress.
Hello, Mayor.
I'm here.
You sit right there.
I'll sit right here.
Right. Okay. Let's call the meeting to order. Today is Thursday, September the 8th, 2022. It's 4:31 p.m. Proof of posting, Dustin.
The agenda was posted on Friday, September 2nd, 2022 at 1:45 p.m.
Thank you. All right. We do have a quorum. And so under B is consideration or action of the following: approval of the minutes from the prior meeting. Anyone had a chance to review those?
I reviewed those and I move for approval of the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Okay, under that also is letters from Falls County Judge regarding services into Falls County. And so Serena, you want me to read the letter or what do you want?
The letter just basically said that they're requesting that McLennan County Rural Transit District no longer provide services that enter into Falls County. And so we were providing commuter service that went into Marlin and Chilton, and those are Falls County. So what we're gonna do is realign our service routes. We're gonna reach out to the board, see if there's some areas that we can capitalize on. We're looking at McGregor or Mart, and if anyone on the board wants us to look at their area, we can look at it, factor it in. But again, we're gonna try to keep it streamlined with the areas that we're currently servicing, so we don't have to redesign the route based off of the individuals that are using it in those areas. But we are open for suggestions. We'll run that schedule beginning October the 1st. And based off of TxDOT's direction, we can provide services as long as the trip originates in our county, which is McLennan County. And so Falls County Judge is well within its right. I asked him if we could provide service through October the 1st so that we could communicate to the passengers that the change will be happening, and he agreed. And so the letter may say September the 1st, but he agreed to allow us until October the 1st for communication. And so we'll adjust and we'll move forward.
What was the reason?
Yes.
Well, reason why?
Well,
are they going to own?
You know, I don't, just kind of bring back some history. Several years ago, the county, McLennan County, felt like we weren't getting the amount of service that we really needed because of our growth, economic growth, and we needed to bring more folks in here to work. And so in analyzing how the money was spent through hot cog transportation side, that as on a pro rata basis, our percentage of investment for transportation was minute compared to what was in the other counties. So we brought that to their attention. Nothing happened. So we, Mayor Malcolm Duncan, myself, and Commissioner Will Jones went to Austin, met with TxDOT, had numerous communications, and they were able to just pull out our piece of the funding and allow us to, and pay that to us directly. And with the help of Waco Transit, we put together a rural transportation program and started with that, and it's been growing and doing well. Now, Falls County does have the right to do that. They're part of the hot cog group that's left, and so they wanted to utilize all their assets and do what we've been doing. And so, you know, that's fine, but I am concerned, I guess, or I will really pay attention to the level of service that they're getting, because it's important that we keep our workforce that want to use public transportation coming into our community, because the need we had back 5 years ago is minute compared to the need we have today.
That's right.
And the fact that on several very large economic development opportunities at hand, we're going to be desperate in getting adequate workforce. And so we're working hard to train unskilled folks here now but it's really gonna take that we're gonna have to attract people from outside. Now, we had rather, attract them, first priority out of the Hot Cog area. They're close by, they're our neighbors, they're part of our larger community, but there'll also be some, coming from other places. But as inflation goes up, public transportation becomes a more efficient way and for many people to do that. And so, I guess that I pretty well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, sir.
And I think, I know that wheels are turning on where all services might need to go in the future. So be thinking about that, have ideas, communicate with Serena or myself. And she's gonna do a study, they'll analyze maybe where the best routes might be that work with their program and yet keep everybody moving as well, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, under items, under C, under operations report, ridership programs, revenues, expenses, equipment, marketing plans, and related matters. So, Serena?
All right, just to give you guys a quick overview, our fiscal year comparison by month, I know it appears as if we're lower. We're still not at our pre-COVID numbers as of 2019. But if you look at the beginning of the fiscal year, you'll see our blue line was trending really high. We contribute the downward movement towards our workforce. We need to get more drivers in who can provide this service. And once we can get staffed up, we're looking at going to like the Bell County workforce programs. We have we've had workforce programs at our facility where people can apply on site and we can go through the hiring at that moment, because oftentimes you lose employees during that wait time. So we brought them in, we interviewed them, we took their drug test. Sometimes we lose them based off of the drug test, but we just keep doing some creative things for retention and to get people employed. So that's across the board. One thing that's ideal about us is if we hire them for Waco Transit, we can also utilize them from McLennan County Rural Transit District. So it's a win-win for us when we get our employee pool built up. If you look at the second chart, that will show you how that's a real reflection of where we were each year from October to July. And so you can see based off of that, we are trending higher than we were historically. So we are getting our riders back, and we're continuing to communicate to them about our safe practices to encourage them to utilize our public transit system. The route that we were talking about that impacts Fall County will be the rural commuter bus ridership. That's going to be the third chart. So I just kind of want you guys to see where we're trending upward on that line. So we'll be curious to see next year how those numbers change. I do believe that TxDOT changed their formula, the way they provide allocate the funds with the rural programs. And so I do believe that may have initiated some of this with regards to the COG. And so, but that's just with rural programs. And so you can see again, we'll still be providing our services to Sanderson Farms, and we have put that out on communications to individuals. Once the COG brings them in, they'll utilize Waco Transit and the commuter route to still continue to utilize our other fixed routes, as well as get to our Sanderson Farm program that we have set up with them. So we're still part of that connection. We just need to make sure that the individuals that use our commuter service understand how the hot cog is going to operate, and so that they can make that connection to continue for those work trips. But my concern is we provide service until 6:15 in the evening, getting those people back out into the rural communities. And I believe their service delivery time is going to be, I think they're going to end service a lot sooner than what we do. So that's something that we need to kind of talk about as we move forward.
Right.
And that's the end of my report.
Okay.
Serena, just a quick question. So we're attributing the drop, I'm looking at the first one, total rural ridership, where that blue line is it's behind the previous 3 years. Some of a big portion is just we don't have enough drivers, is what you're saying.
Well, if you don't have the operators to provide the trips, then we try to, ask the passenger if we can move them to another day. But, sometimes we can't, we don't prioritize any trips, but we try to make sure that our dialysis, our medical appointments, those type of trips, we try to make sure those happen. And then for individuals that cannot adjust trip times, we try to advise them of the commuter service. But, we're traveling a wide area in McLennan County, and if we only have so many operators, they schedule the trips in advance. It's not governed under the ADA like our fixed route is and our paratransit service. And so you can refuse trips if you don't have the operators to provide it. And no one wants to be on the vehicle for extended amount of time, 2 or 3 hours, because you're coming in from west or, because we don't have the capacity to provide that. So we try to make sure that they realize from a customer service standpoint, this is what we can do, be honest and upfront, and let the passenger make the decision. But again, we are on a robust hiring campaign. We're trying to get people in. But as with all industries, there's just a deficit of people out there.
Do we have data, Serena, on the number of trips? I mean, that might be helpful to see that we've gone from whatever, 500 to 150 or 400 even, and that's one of the contributing factors to
So these are
lower ridership.
So these are trips, because they're not, each person is a trip.
Okay, okay.
So these are the trip numbers.
It's not a running total, it's just on a monthly basis.
Right.
So like each one of those blocks or circles is your monthly amount of trips.
Of trips.
Okay, I was thinking it was people.
No, they're trips, because we don't count personal care attendants. We'll allow personal care attendant to ride with the individual for free, because it helps, but we don't count that as a separate number. So the trips person, they're not connected, they're singles, so.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now in the financial reporting side for,
I'm gonna keep
and
this
and the
short.
audit as well. Jenna?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet for you. The exciting thing is that we did exceed our advertising revenue, for the first time ever for Roll since it started in 2015, so that's pretty exciting. And then we are well within budget right now, and we are projected to finish, below budget, for fiscal year 22. If you have director-specific questions, I can answer those, but as of right now, we're running about $100,000 less than last year at this time.
Good.
Efficiencies.
I like it. That number is good. I just had a question on all of in our budget where we're showing 3.9 million for the whole year. And some of these are grants, I take it, that just haven't, help me understand, they haven't materialized, or we haven't had the need for them, because we're like, 3.9 was a budgeted revenue and it's actually 1.2.
So,
Attendance.
600 and some thousand of that is vehicles, which, we have on order, but they, everything's delayed right now.
Yeah.
That will actually be coming probably fiscal year 23, right at the beginning of that, we'll be expensing that. On, the federal CARES, that includes a lot of capital money as well, which is, like the maintenance truck we have on order for like a support vehicle type thing, things like that are all on order, but we can't actually expense it at this time.
So the sequence is we budget it, but we don't.
Well, when we're awarded it, the city requires me to include it into our budget for this year. But even if those expenses are gonna roll to the beginning of next year or something like that, because a lot of the vehicles, that's what some of these capital expenses are that are delayed right now.
Okay. And then can you just give me 20 seconds on that last page, the grant? I can see that 660 that you just talked about, but the other 7.
So the 5311 and your rural state, those are 2 grants that are awarded on a formula basis every year. Per TxDOT's instructions this year, they wanted us to utilize all of our CARES money first. So we actually haven't touched those 2 grants. They're rolling into our 23, so that we can hopefully utilize them next year instead of, or being reallocated back into our grants. We haven't touched the American Rescue. We were awarded a large amount of CARES funding. at the beginning of fiscal year 21. And it's taken us a while to, I guess, expend that. A lot of that has to do with those decreased trips and things like that, but also that delay in some of those capital items.
Is the fact that that CARES, that I'm looking at the fiscal year 21 CARES round 2 expiration date, is that critical? Do we have to do anything before December 31st?
We're staying in touch with our PTC and with upper management at TxDOT in regards to some of those orders, like I was talking about, like the vehicle we have for maintenance. It's just delayed, and so we are keeping in touch with them, and we'll move forward when it gets closer.
So that 2,065,000 are just vehicles on delivery, basically?
Some of that, but actually, if you look at the beginning, that was our full award amount at the end. That is the whole grant amount. But if you look at the first page, 1.6 is what we started this fiscal year with.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Jen.
And we can put in an amendment request to extend the funds out, but we just have to wait closer to the expiration date of the grant. That's just the way TxDOT works. So you work within it, but you do need to communicate monthly as to your plan. We have to provide an action plan as to where we propose to spend these dollars. We have our 5310 that's going out to council, where we'll be giving our trips to, some of our elderly and disabled trips will go to Central Texas Senior Ministries. They'll provide those services under the rule, and so we'll be able to use that grant money in some of those areas as well. And so we're creative on how we expense it down, because we don't want to give any money back.
Exactly. On the same wavelength as you are.
Well, so the CARES money, that CARES money comes through TxDOT.
For the rule, yes, sir, and there's no match required for it, so that's why they're asking us to use that up front.
Right, and generally, well, you know, we received quite a bit of, well, ours is actually American Rescue Plan.
We
And
received
is
that
that
as
what you're
well.
calling it? It's the
No.
same?
No, we got both.
We have both. We have CARES and ARP.
We've got deadlines, you know, to, like in water distribution, all that, we have to be finished by 2026. That's, you know, have plans and ready to go 24. And, you know, all indications are if we don't get it spent by then, it goes back. And, you know, our thought is that we're all gonna be having to pay higher income tax because of all that money federal government put out there, so we need to get as much of it into our community as we can. But I am worried about these deadlines, so, and it may, you know, it may be that we have to get, legislatively get busy with, making sure those are extended until we can utilize them.
We could reach out to Greg with TxDOT, and we could kind of figure out what an action plan could be and provide you that information. So if that's a pathway forward, we'll definitely look forward to
We
taking
need to be,
proactive.
talking to our state representatives and,
Oh, I talk to our PTC on a regular basis about what the status is of the orders and everything. And that's kind of why they want us to wait closer to the end of the expiration date, so we have a better idea how far we have to extend it out. So we're not doing multiple amendments and things like that, so.
And what's unique about our grants is, you receive the grant, you expense the grant, you submit for reimbursement, and so all that's like a delayed process. So this looks like what the balance may be, but realistically, once we submit our July and August billings, that money will decrease significantly. But at the point that we put our information together, you know, we just haven't received the reimbursement in order to, you know, decrease the amounts. So we are working towards it.
okay?
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you. Great. All right, is there a motion to approve the financial report?
So move.
Second?
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. All right, under E is approvals and ratifications, if any, for grant applications and other things. Is there anything else on that?
No, sir.
So Judge, we did have one updated signature authority document that it was due back to TxDOT quickly, and so you had signed it back in June. We just need a ratification of that signature authority
Okay.
document.
All right, I have signed it,
Yes, sir.
and so we just need board to ratify my authority to sign it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Move for ratification.
Second. Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. All right, anything else, come before the group. Appreciate those attending and appreciate those that zoomed in. If there's not anything else, well, we stand adjourned.